Hey Raindrops, now before we get into this video, I want to talk to you about joining my community. Yes, my YouTube community of subscribers. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. It helps build the channel and build our community. I love it when you guys comment and post. So remember, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel.
All right, all right. Well, we finally get to sit down with the person that I've been waiting to talk to. Okay, one of the most funny, the source of a lot of the joy on Family Houston. Our girl Jaquita. What's going on, Jaquita? How you
Hey,
doing today?
hey, good. How are you, Dustin? I'm so happy to finally be sitting with you.
That's what's up. It's been a long time coming. Well, it's been 6 weeks, but it's still been a long time coming because
Long time.
we want to know so much about Family Empire Houston. Myself and so many other people all over are hooked into this show, Jaquita. And a
Yes.
lot of the joy that we get from watching the show kind of comes from you and your energy on. Oh, Jaquita, where does your joy and your sense of humor come from? You have had us rolling the entire season of Family Empire Houston.
Honestly, that's just who I am. I'm always cracking jokes. Everything is always funny to me, unless you messing with my money. Then that ain't funny.
Yeah, ain't nothing
But
funny about that.
yeah, like that's when we get a little serious now. But I
Okay.
mean, that's just always been my character. They know me as the one to come here and be silly, crack jokes, keep
Yeah.
everybody smiling. Somebody got to do it. And a lot of times with Jermisha and Nicole, they get so stuffy, and so I have to go in here and talk crazy to them, just to get a laugh out of them. I'm like, y'all, we need to do this. It's easier. I felt like it was easier for me to just be myself than try to fake and portray and be someone that I wasn't, because I can't act like Jamisha and Nicole. I can only be Quita at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
So hey, take it or leave it. Either you're gonna like it or you're not.
We love it. We taking it and we love it, Jaquita.
Yeah.
I've thoroughly been enjoying it. I come from a large family. I have three other siblings, and we
Mhm.
have tons of cousins all over the country. And there was something about the family dynamic that you guys had that just was endearing to me. And so seeing y'all have these adult relationships as
Mhm.
cousins and sisters that grew up together, I think it was really dope and really refreshing to the reality TV landscape. So thank you for being a part of Family Empire
Yeah.
Houston. I'm so glad you said yes, Jaquita.
Yes, I
Okay.
am too. I was wondering. I said they hadn't called me yet. I said, well, I guess I got off the hook. I say, good,
We was
because
definitely
I
going to knock on
sometimes,
your door.
right, I get a little shy when it comes to like the one-on-ones and all the interviews. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm all nervous. I don't want to mess up
Yeah.
and get in trouble. The family will fuss at me if I come back and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you said this and you shouldn't have said that. And I'm like, oh Lord, I'm just not gonna do it.
Yep. Well, we doing it today, and I'm glad that you are, Jaquita. Because like I said, I've been really enjoying this season. I can't wait to see the many seasons that I feel are still left to come from Family Empire
Okay,
Houston.
we
And
gonna
getting to
see.
know you guys. The first question that I have personally for you, again, as somebody who has enjoyed watching this season,
Mhm.
how long have you had a damn one drink maximum, Jaquita?
Mhm.
Okay.
Tell you, I think Nicole started that. We did a little family trip to New Orleans, right?
Okay.
It was Aunt Charlotte's whatever, probably 50th birthday. I don't remember. Maybe
Okay.
Aunt Charlotte was out there at the twerk contest and won. And I don't even know
Yeah.
how I got on that. But anywho, so we were out drinking, just having a good time. And then, so, in New Orleans, that hand grenade, I'm
Oh
sure
my
you've had
God. Yes, many, many,
it.
many times. Yes.
And
Yes.
I could only really handle one of those. So they were
Yeah.
like, you only had one and you out here acting like this. And it was just too much for me. So ever since then, they have been like, no, Quita can't hold the liquor. That's all you getting. One drink max. I'm like, seriously? But if I'm at my house, why I can't act a certain way if I'm at my house? Let me be me. Now at New Orleans, I understand all of that. But in my own household, if I know I'm not driving, then
Yeah.
you
You
let
do
me
your
get
thing. That's
it.
right. Let you have 1.5 drinks, okay, since you're at the
Exactly.
crib.
Thank you.
That is hilarious. One of the other things that I love about watching your family on TV is your little son Carter, Jaquita. Every week when
Oh,
this show comes on and he says, everybody say Brady.
that's his line right now.
Carter need his own show. He's just full of so much little personality. Like
Yes.
we have really enjoyed seeing him, Jaquita.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. I'm gonna have to post more of Carter because let me tell you, Carter is. I think he's gonna be a little preacher or a choir director or something because we come home from church and we have to have church again. So a lot
uh-huh.
of times I post in my story with Carter making me and all his animals have church, and people just get a kick out of it. They like, what Pastor Carter at? So
Y'all, his
I'm
little
gonna post this
congregation.
more.
I
And
love that.
correction, he was only 5 on the show. I know it kept saying he was 7, but he was only
Uh-huh.
5, so he's in the first grade.
Okay, okay. How's he? So did he start his school year yet? Did he go back yet?
Yes,
Okay.
and he hates it, but we're getting there.
Okay.
This school is so boring, mommy. I was like, you got a long way to go, so you might as well
Uh-huh.
hold the complaining.
Uh-huh. To that third week when him and them friends get to action. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying? You know what it
exactly.
is. Now, speaking of school, Jaquita, we see that you have a background in pharmacy. You're a pharmacist, Jaquita, correct?
I
Yeah.
am. I
Yeah.
attended Texas Southern University and I got my doctor of pharmacy. So I still
RMD.
yes. So I still actually work in the pharmacy. I work
Okay.
1 day a week just to kind of keep my license active. And,
Yeah.
I still want to know what's going on because I have family members and friends call me all the time. Actually, I just got off the phone with my best friend and she was like, they gave me this medicine and I'm not taking it until I talk to my pharmacist. You my pharmacist, So I still have to keep my license active so I can stay abreast of what's going on in the pharmacy world. So
That's right. You know, it's so funny to hear you say that because my cousin is a pharmacist, and you better
okay.
believe we check in with her all the time when the vaccine,
Mhm.
in
Right?
recent years when we've had to have conversations regarding medicine, she
Yep.
was our first go-to. And so having that
Mhm.
pharmacist in the family, that's a unique connection. So I
Yes.
understand that. You work in the retail, isn't it like the difference is retail versus clinical for pharmacy, right?
Correct. So
Okay.
I'm in the retail setting, but a lot of the retail, it has become clinical. So
Mm-hmm.
we're doing a
Mm-hmm.
little extra clinical stuff. So it's not just, people think we just back there counting pills and putting the label.
Oh no.
It's beyond that. And so I think a lot of people they don't give us that same respect as they
Hmm.
give the doctors and the nurses. I'm like, hey, we're back here putting out fires just like and then having to deal with I'm saying clients, but I mean I have to keep going from clients to patients in my head because clients is real
Yeah.
estate and
Yeah.
inpatients is pharmacy. So sometimes I get in there and talk about this client. I'm like, oh wait, where I'm at, where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, a lot of times, we have to realize they're here because most likely they're sick. So you have
Hmm.
to learn to be patient with people, and you really have to be a people person to really to for me to work in both of the fields that I'm in.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I think speaking just a little bit more to that piece as far as the perception of like doctors of pharmacy, right, in
Mhm,
comparison to your other medical professional
mhm,
colleagues, right? Uh,
mhm.
you're just as necessary, right? You work hand in hand with the MDs in the hospital because without you guys, you can't prescribe what they need. So there's a large community, and I have a bit of a view into that. Like I said, through she's my cousin, but she's my friend too.
Mhm,
On top of that,
mhm.
and so I have a view into that space, and it's very very that medical professional space
Man,
and the hierarchies that exist and the
mhm.
constructs within it. That's something. So
Yes,
that's
and it's
interesting to know.
it's really hard, to work under all that pressure as well because that was really the time when I did shift and start
Hmm.
working as a realtor because COVID, working in a pharmacy during COVID, oh my goodness,
Hmm.
I thought it was gonna take me out. It was
Yeah.
just so challenging, and I felt like I got to like my breaking point. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this.
Hmm.
And so that was really, like I said, the time when I did transition to do real estate full time, and I'm glad I did.
Okay, so talk to me about that transition for you, Jaquita, because that again, that is we're talking about a multi-year course of study to attain your doctorate of pharmacy.
Mhm.
Okay, so you actually are Dr. Martin, right?
Yes,
Dr. Jaquita
Dr.
Martin.
Martin.
Let's
Tell
call
them
it
to
what
put
it
some
is.
respect on
Put a
that.
handle on it, okay? Yeah, so but becoming Dr. Martin, that's a very lengthy course of study, and it's a dedicated amount of time to spend to doing something. So
Absolutely.
pivoting into real estate, working with the family in that business. Talk to me about the decision to transition or make that pivot or kind of synergize those two worlds professionally for yourself.
Right. Well, so after I had Carter,
Mm-hmm.
I had a really long maternity leave, and it was like
Praise
16,
God.
yeah, like 16 weeks or so, whatever. And
Yeah.
so I kept seeing Misha and Nicole, and I'm like, man, they out here really doing their thing with real estate, and I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, now is the perfect time for me to do it, while I have the
Mm-hmm.
time off. So I used that time. I went and got my real estate license, but I didn't practice for my first year because I
Mm-hmm.
had a newborn, and then I
Mm-hmm.
was, just trying to get the groove of things.
Yeah.
So I just had my license just to say I was a realtor. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm gonna keep it just in case something pop off. It looks like they're trying to start their own company, and I don't want to get left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I passed the exam. Like I said, I didn't practice the first year. And so the second year, I had a couple clients come to me, and I'm like, oh, y'all want me to help you? Oh, okay. I got this. Okay. So I started getting my feet wet with real estate. And I'm like, hey, this could really be something if I really put forth a real effort, because
Yeah,
right
real
now
focus.
I'm just giving it
Yeah.
half effort because I'm still a full-time pharmacist. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I really put my foot forward, I was like, oh yeah, it's money to be made here. I was like, I'm tripping, because
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
pharmacy, I get paid a certain amount every month. And don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, I was getting paid very well,
For
but
sure.
I knew that I was only getting that certain amount of money every month. And so real estate, I do sell 2 or 3 houses in a month. And I'm like, why am I really here at this pharmacy? Like, let's make it make sense. Cause I'm over here
Yeah.
working hard, and then it's COVID and it's people going crazy everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it was too much. And so I used that as my opportunity to kind of transition out of pharmacy full time. I still
Mm-hmm.
work in pharmacy, but I
Mm-hmm.
was more of part time. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm just hourly. Like I said, I just work once a week, so just enough to keep my license active. But
Yeah.
that was how that transition and that pivot went.
Yeah, well, I think again, smart thinking on your feet, thinking about
Mhm,
ways to just reimagine your
mhm.
financial approach, to sustaining yourself. And I think that's smart. That's what we all should aspire to do, right? Is be able to
Right,
pivot in those moments like that.
exactly.
Um, we saw on the show that you and as well as your husband Chris. First of all, how did you meet your husband Chris, Jaquita? Tell us about that story.
He was all in my DMs. Seen a girl post a DM, and he just
Uh-huh.
slid on in there. And so, but no, we were friends on Facebook.
Okay.
So I kind of knew who he was, but I didn't. But then he started messaging me. He kept every time I would post on Snapchat, he was just sending a comment on, just
Yeah,
every
yeah.
little thing. He was
Replying.
like,
Uh-huh. Letting you know he was there.
yeah, I was like, and so I had to go back to Facebook. Who is this guy again? And so I looked him up, and I was like, oh, that's the guy. He has a cute little girl. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
he's pretty cool. So then he kept messaging me, and I'm not the type that beat around the bush. I'm like, look, get to the point. What you
What's
doing out
up?
this back and
Yeah.
forth? Get to the point, because I ain't got time. Like. So then it was one, I think I was at the bar or something, and I was like, cheers or something. And then he's like, oh, that looked good. And so I'm like, oh, well, next time you're down, maybe we should go grab a drink. Cause at this point, I'm like, hey, are you trying to flirt or what? Cause I ain't got time. If you're
That's
not,
right,
move
Jaquita.
around.
Yeah.
And so then he was like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'll be there Friday, So then we set it up from there. And so it was really good. We kicked it off well. But he wasn't here. He was working in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about 3 hours, 3.5 hours from Houston. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were doing the whole long distance thing for a while. And so you know how it is, absence makes the heart grow
Oh
fonder. And
yeah.
so
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
so we kind of moved a little fast. So we were engaged right before our year mark
Okay.
dating. And so we set our date and everything. And then bam, here come, oh, you're pregnant. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
doctors had told me I couldn't have kids. And so
Wow.
yeah, so we had just been out there practicing, not
Yeah.
thinking like, we can't have kids anyway. We fine. And
Hey.
yeah, then bam, we're pregnant. So then we had to end up moving the wedding up because I would have been like 7.5 months pregnant.
At the
So we moved it
ceremony.
up. Yeah, so I was right at 6 months. So
Okay.
I really hadn't told too many people. So then here at the wedding, like I made sure I got this oversized bouquet. So
Yes.
and I got this big bouquet. Then I walked, then I turned, and I'm hearing people, I didn't know she was pregnant. I was like, yeah, we didn't move it up for a reason, just for any old reason. But yeah.
That's
But
a
so
blessing.
yeah, so we really didn't have that honeymoon phase that I wish we could have had, because we got married in March and then Carter was born in June.
So
So
bam, bam, real close. Yeah.
real close, little
Yeah.
3-month honeymoon phase before Carter was in the picture, because Chris already had a daughter, but she lived in Atlanta.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we only saw her for the summertime and then every other Christmas. So we didn't get that alone time that we really needed
Yeah.
for marriage.
Yeah. Well, that's what's up. I know I know that your girls are enjoying their baby brother Carter. I already know that.
Yes, yes.
Um, how many more children? We saw you say on the show that you and your husband Chris would like to expand your family. How
Yeah.
many children you think you want to have, Jaquita? Or are you still
Well,
interested in expanding?
I would, but I'm having a few little health issues, and so that's the
Okay.
only reason why I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I want to put that type of
Yeah.
pressure on myself,
Yeah.
but I would love to have 2 more, because I
Okay.
always wanted 4.
Yeah.
Misha wanted 0, and look, she got 3. I'm like, we're in the wrong shoes here. So her kids are my kids, and my kids are her kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are my
Absolutely.
babies
Well, we
too.
definitely sending you good energy with your
Thank
your
you.
your motherhood and health journey, of course.
Yes, yes.
Um, the thing that's great about Braden Real Estate Group is that it has become this hub for all of
Mhm,
the skilled family members who have talents that they can apply to the success of this business. And
mhm,
so we see you working at the Braden Real Estate Group, doing your thing as as a realtor with the group. And we
mhm,
also see your husband Chris working with the
mhm,
company, doing his thing with all of the materials, the assets, the video and photography assets for the
mhm,
company, which is a huge, as a person who works in media full
mhm.
time, which we know the value that that brings to an organization. So
Absolutely.
what has that been like for you, Jaquita, as far as like living, loving, working with your husband and your family all at the same time?
Sometimes it is rewarding, but then,
Mhm.
as you seen on the show, sometimes it can cause like a little rift sometime between your family and your spouse, because I know Chris wants to come home and say, man, I had this hard day at work. This
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
happened. That's what happened. But then he's still being mindful that that's my sister and my cousin
yeah,
that he wants
yeah.
to vent to me about. And I try to remain neutral. I know he wants me to take his side all the time, but what I was trying to explain to him, I'm like, Chris, look, I get a paycheck from them too. We both
Hmm.
can't be messing our pay up now. I ain't about
Hmm.
to in here in this thing taking sides, because I got to keep this job as well.
Absolutely.
So it becomes hard when they're not seeing eye to eye, because I'm stuck in the middle. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what, just look, somebody go get a different job. Whether we got to go get a different job, because this is not working.
Yeah. It seems on the show that you've done a good job with that balancing act, because it's tough for anybody working with family. You add
Absolutely.
into that layer that now your spouse is there too. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of relationships to manage
Mhm.
at concurrently. So
Exactly.
how are you doing that? How Jaquita? Like how are you making sure that that boundary remains
Mhm.
comfortable for everybody, right? Because you can't just say, "Oh, don't be talking about my sister, or don't be talking about my husband." Like, how do you kind of work the middle like that?
Honestly, like I said, I try to remain neutral, because I could
Mhm.
say, hey, neither one of y'all come tell me anything about each other.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But we're family, and we're
Let's be
going to
realistic.
Right,
Yeah.
let's be realistic. So we are going to talk, and it's just always, like I said, I try to be the mediator of the situation and just say, hey, well, maybe, well, have you considered this, or did you, try this approach with him? This is my husband. I know he works better in this type of situation or that
Yeah.
type of situation. So I really just try to be the mediator and just remain neutral in the
Yeah.
situation. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, leave me out of this. I'm not trying to be this getting too messy. Like, leave me out of it, because
Don't
they
make
come
me go back to Walgreens. Okay.
exactly. They telling me looking for him. And I'm like, I don't know where he's at. Then he might be upstairs. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there trying to cover for him. Oh yeah, I don't know. And so, like I said, I just try to stay out of it. It's hard. And but yeah,
Well,
we'll see.
you're doing a good job. Okay. From the people that are watching the show, it is exemplary to watch you manage these relationships at the same
Yeah,
time. So
well,
you should
thank
pat
you.
yourself on the back for that. Fans of the show have that's right. Okay.
Thank you.
There's been conversations around the what's great about this show is that it shows women, right? Successful, attacking
Mhm.
like business and managing their families and
Right.
just managing their relationships amongst each other. And that is something that is exemplary, it's aspirational, and it is
Mhm.
something that a lot of people needed to see.
Right.
And in today's world, we live in a modern progressive world where the model of the family looks different for everyone per the needs of the people who occupy it.
Right.
What do you have to say to women who are watching this show and we see you kind of appear to be like the breadwinner in your family, right? And you're
Mhm.
not, I shouldn't say breadwinner, but kind of the person who is kind of making certain decisions as your husband pursues his
Mhm.
skills and his gift of
Right.
filmmaking,
Mhm.
photography, and these talents that he is actively pursuing, right? Talk to
Mhm.
us about the role of the wife who supports that decision on behalf of your husband and how you're able to make that work for your family and others who may be watching that
Right.
modern interpretation of what a family looks like.
Right. And the main thing is communication.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be effective communicators when it comes to this, or either one of you gonna be looking at each other upside their head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have to know, like, hey, okay, we're both trying to do this entrepreneurship. We're both trying
Mm-hmm.
to do it. When I transitioned from full time to part time at the pharmacy and I started trying to, jumpstart my real estate career, he was there to support me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was just reciprocated. He left from his job to do photography and videography, and it was okay. What I got to do,
Yeah.
but and the thing is, you have to set time frames and deadlines because if you don't, then yeah, you may start encountering some situations or some issues because you're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, how long? How long? I've done it
Mm-hmm.
for a year. Set that expectation up front and say, hey, I'm going to need probably about a year and a half to, for you to hold this down. You
Mm-hmm.
hold it down, and after that, I've had time to create an effective plan and strategy. So now I know how to proceed and operate and start my business. So you have to set those expectations up front, and like I said, effective communication throughout.
I think that is wonderful to see and something fresh and very, very relevant to today's world.
Mhm.
You are a unit, you're a family unit. And just like you said, you kind of return and serve on the support that you received from your husband when you were
Mhm.
ready to make a pivot. So I love
Mhm.
that y'all shared that with the audiences because I think a
Mhm.
lot of people will benefit from that, Jaquita.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, what's up with the dream home? Y'all still looking? Have you found something you like? Or what's going on with that, Jaquita?
We're still looking. So the neighborhood that I want to move to, because
Yeah.
I'm saying I get to him. The neighborhood that I want to move to. So it's all resale. It's no opportunity for new construction whatsoever.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
okay with that because
Hmm.
the homes are big. Like if you've seen Jermisha's house, they have
Yeah,
a really big
beautiful
home.
home. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Now it's not new, but
Hmm.
I can go in and renovate it to have
For
it to
sure.
look, like the home, my dream home that I want it to
Hmm.
be. And the issue is just finding that right one. And the homes over there in her neighborhood, they usually don't last. If it's a
Hmm. They
good
go
buy,
quick.
they go fast, and you have to be on your feet and ready. And I'm
Yeah.
sure like as a self-employed
Yeah.
worker, it's a little more challenging for us to
It's a bit
get
different.
approved. It's
Yeah.
not as easy as a W-2.
No.
So you have to be ready at all times.
Hmm.
Those pre-approvals are only good for 90 days. So by the time
Hmm.
you see it, you didn't send in your other stuff. It's like bam, the home gone.
Yeah.
And then they like, well, you want to look at another one? No, that was the only one I wanted. I don't want to look at it more. So I'm kind of stubborn like that. And we've missed out on so many. But see, Chris, he wants to go to the country. And I'm a city girl.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
a city
okay, okay.
and
Yeah.
so him going down, I'm like, you can go. It won't be with me. But you can go. So that's what
Okay.
we're kind of like, we're not really on the same page with that right now.
Yeah. It'll
Mhm.
come together. It'll come together. And I live in New York City where everything is old and remodeled on the inside. So
Mhm.
that is the name of the game with,
That's how you, yep.
finding a good space that you like. Y'all will find some with the bones that you wanted to have and turn it into what you want. So
I hope so sometime soon. Cause yeah, this one, and I set goals. And so when I don't reach my goals, then I'm beating myself up. Cause this
yeah.
home made year number 10, and it made the 10th year. And I was like, oh, we're only staying here. Really, I didn't want to stay here past 5. And now that we're here at 10, I was like, 10 is the absolute max. We're not staying here a year past that. And now here we are going on actually, we'll be going on year 11 this year. And I'm like, I gotta get
Okay.
back from this house.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
What have you enjoyed the most, Jaquita, when you look back on your experience with this season one, being new to the television space and
Mhm.
working with family? What have you enjoyed the most about your experiences as one of the sister cousins on Family Empire Houston?
And I think the way you said it, you took my answer. Like what I enjoyed the most is experiencing this with my family. Like
Yeah.
who can say, "Oh, I did a reality show with my grandmama."
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Exactly.
yeah, and so that was just the highlight of it all for me, being able to have my grandmother here. And oh my goodness, our Papa would have loved this so very much. Like
Yeah.
he would have just been cheesing every episode, maybe except the last one, but
Yeah.
he would have been, just cheesing ear to ear, because just having them here to experience that with us, it just means everything.
Documenting this too,
Mhm.
right? On
Yeah,
television, like the story of y'all building this business for your family, your
absolutely.
grandmother Oscarine getting to witness that and see you all see success in real estate. That's
Mm.
gotta be really like
Oh
just
man.
fortifying for y'all, right?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. And it has her glowing on the inside as well. Whenever, they really Papa would always call. Granny, she'll call sometimes, but Papa, oh, I heard you sold you another one of them houses. You'd have to tell him, and he'll be, oh, you getting pretty good. Huh?
Proud of you,
Yeah,
lady.
they're just so proud. And every time we close a transaction, we have them on the forefront of our mind. Like we're doing
Yeah.
this with Granny and Papa. This is what it's all about.
Makes it even more meaningful,
Yes,
right?
it does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Do you think that working in television is something that you would want to do more of, or how are you enjoying that experience?
It's one of those things, like, I'm a natural thespian,
Come on with it.
I'm like, I have dreams of, like, being an extra in movies and things like
Uh-huh.
that. As far as like reality TV, I'm like, is this something I really want to do? My dreams are more on like the acting side, or
Mhm.
being extras in films. But the reality TV, it's cool. But then you have all these different opinions, and then you have relatives that's not taking it so well. Because some people
Yeah.
like me, I don't care what somebody say about me. I could care less. But
Yeah.
that might not be the same story for
For
someone else.
everyone. Yeah.
And so for me to see them hurt, it makes me hurt.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing where I'm like, I don't know about the reality TV. I was like, maybe let me stick to my dreams, maybe working next to Oprah one day.
That's right. You in the house. On
Right?
network, baby. You're right there.
Come on, Color Purple Part 2. Shoot, I'm
Okay.
ready.
So okay, so like this show, this is a show about a family, right?
Mhm.
I think along the way, as people have watched reality television, they have sort of become audiences have become attracted to some of the conflict and combative nature of what we see, right? But this
Right.
show is about a family. So it's a little bit different type of communication that we see on this show. The words matter more, the
Mhm.
stories behind the conversations that are having matter, and they're very, very personal.
Right.
I think you all have done a stellar job managing that as a
Oh.
family, and the communication that we see on the show,
Mhm.
even in more tense moments, you know what I mean? Although spirited, you guys are communicating with each other and you're
Mhm.
talking about feelings and about histories and about things that have made the ties maybe stronger or weaker
Mhm.
depending on the connection.
Right.
has being on this TV show impacted your relationships in a way that is tangible for you? As you said, you've heard people say that they may not have liked some of the things that they've seen or heard, but has there been an impact, positive or
Mhm.
negative, on the relationships for you personally, Jaquita, from what we've seen on the television show?
Well, positive, I guess you could say positive. It definitely has made us communicate more.
That's
And I
wonderful.
know, yeah, I know, like, especially with, the Keisha, Nicole, all that
Hmm.
situation
Hmm.
there. And, of course, yeah, I joked about it initially, but it was
Yeah.
all in jokes.
And
It
that
wasn't
was
anything
clear.
like,
It was clear
right,
that that
right.
was
It was
the
clear.
intention was.
Exactly. Right. And so, but to know, like, like to hear Nicole say, "Oh, well, you guys have always just felt the hurt for Keisha. Y'all have never asked how were
Mhm.
we affected or impacted." And so, like, to hear, or that different perspective, you're like, "Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. As a sister cousin, I didn't check on you the way I should have,
Mhm.
and it just made me a little more aware of, like, hey, everyone is all thinking, oh, okay, Keisha, 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 but we're not realizing that our other sister cousins are being affected with it as well. And so, like I said, it was really
Absolutely.
just kind of like an eye opener for me. I wouldn't say negative or positive, but just more like eye opening.
Yeah, and that could even, that to me is positive, right? When you
Mhm.
get an additional,
Mhm.
lens or view into the dynamics and you can seek out,
Right,
positive correction or whatever, that's a good thing. And so I
right.
think that's great. Um, and this is very personal because we're talking about mothers, we're talking about daughters,
Mhm.
sisters, you know what I mean? Fathers. These are the most personal connections you can have with a person.
Absolutely.
What do you remember about growing up and being introduced? Do you even remember your introduction to your cousin Lakeisha, or per your memory, which is always just your cousin Lakeisha? You know what I
Mm.
mean? What do you remember about that?
So Nicole and Keisha, we're all Nicole, Keisha, and myself, we're all born the same year.
Okay. Yep.
Right. So Nicole, Keisha, they're at the beginning of the year. I'm at the end.
Yep.
So we were still, when I, if she say she was about 7, and I was about 7 too, or I might have been 6
Little
on 7,
kid.
And so, you can vaguely recall things at 7.
Hmm.
So I remember stuff, and it was like, it seemed like it's a, argument going on over there. Let me go over here and mind my
Oh
business before
yeah.
I get a
Yeah.
whooping, trying to
Yeah.
eavesdrop into their business. So we knew something wasn't right, but we didn't question it,
Of
you
course
know.
not. Yeah.
Right. So we just knew, hey, okay, Keisha coming over here, like, oh, okay, my mama told, oh, Keisha coming over this weekend. And we're like, oh, good, good, good. Because she was always so much fun. Now she always got us in trouble, but it was just so much fun, come around, and her and Misha always get into fights. It would just be so
Yep.
funny. And so I can always just recall laughter when Keisha was there. We
Childhood
just,
memories. Yeah.
yeah, nonstop. But like I said, the other part of it, we just tried to mind our little children business.
Children.
And,
Exactly.
we
You.
don't let the adults handle that. But like I said, it was tension. We just
Yeah.
tried to stay out of it.
You could tell that you all have a bond that was built through, child. Everybody knows that Black family
Mhm.
adult cousin relationship is something special.
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
really enjoyed the scene when you had a very transparent conversation with
Mhm.
Lakeisha and her partner Caramel when
Mhm.
you all met up to go. You asked them when they made the switch. I thought
Right.
it was hilarious, and it just spoke to. Have you all always had that sort of like? It's almost. I mean, she's your sister cousin too, so it's like, have
Right.
you all always had that sort of transparent banter back and forth with each other?
Absolutely. The sister
Yeah,
cousins have, but it was more of, I was kind of a little hesitant to ask because I don't know Caramel like that.
like that.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, she might take the wrong way. I knew Keisha was gonna laugh and be like, girl, mind your business. I traded when I did the switch, But to Caramel, I was like, okay, in my head, I'm like, let me word this correctly because I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
But our inquiring minds wanted to know.
I thought that was hilarious. And I love, another thing I love about your family is that there's never even been a conversation on screen regarding sexuality or anything
Yeah,
like that. It's that's your cousin, and that's
yeah,
where it stops. And I
exactly.
love that. That's great for Black families, especially to see
Absolutely.
today. So we love the
Yeah,
love
be
that y'all have for
be
each
with
other.
who makes you happy. If that's who
Yeah.
makes you happy, hey, if a dog make you happy, go be with a dog. If a you know, be with who make you happy. And
Yeah.
we're not questioning any of that, you know.
How did you feel about the conversation that you saw at the Rodeo Roundup, right? That
Mhm.
well, we all saw on television between your Aunt Joy and Lakeisha when they were kind of getting to the bottom of things. Were you happy to see them talking that out and kind of trying to get somewhere with kind of ironing out some of that stuff that kind of existed between them?
I mean, I was a little indifferent. Like I
Hmm.
was hoping to see an apology,
Hmm.
but it was more of a, in my opinion, it was more of a pointing a finger.
Okay.
And I feel like we've done so much of the pointing the finger back and forth so much. Like at this point, how can we resolve this? We
Yeah.
don't need to go back and hear, oh, well, she should have been in her business and da da da. We're already past all of that. We know how you felt. We know how everybody else felt. Now, if you feel like you need to tell it for the world to know, that's on you. But I felt as if it should have been more of an apology. How do we move from here instead of pointing
Hmm.
fingers at people? So I didn't think
Yeah.
it was productive at all.
And it's again, we're talking about a family here. We're talking
Mhm.
about these are relationships that matter. So this isn't something where we can be careless with our
Right.
opinions or even our approach to those conversations, you know? So
Mhm.
I appreciate you saying what you expected to see in that conversation. And
Mhm.
that speaks to the view toward resolution and tying the bond back together. You know what I mean? Have
Right.
you ever seen a conversation between your mom and your Aunt Joy about that situation going on, or was this the first time that that was actually kind of vocalized in
Mhm.
front of everyone like that? Because it seemed very fresh when we watched
Yeah,
that conversation. It's sensitive information, you know what I mean?
it
So it
was.
seemed like it was a new feeling for everybody at the table.
Right. So I can recall, when we were younger and all this would
Yeah,
blow up, every time it was an issue, it
yeah.
would be Aunt Joy wouldn't be there. Uncle Bubba
Okay,
would be there with
okay,
sisters, and they would give him the business, but Aunt Joy wouldn't be there. So
okay.
I've never seen a situation where it was my mom, Aunt Joy. That was our first time. Well, I would say for us seeing them together.
Yeah,
Now I've heard it has happened before, a situation, but the kids weren't present.
yeah.
So, mhm,
I also thought it was honest, you know,
mhm,
and vulnerable on behalf of you, on everybody involved in the conversation, right? But specifically, you expressed a very real emotion of trying to protect sort of your mother's experience during that
mhm,
time, right? We're all amongst family here, so
mhm.
there's a certain level that it's not going to go past. But we saw
Right.
that on behalf of both you and your cousin Monet.
Mhm.
What are your reflections on that moment now, like looking back? And things didn't get out of control, you know what I mean? Everybody respected each other enough in that moment to exist,
Right.
but it was two mothers of two adult daughters speaking, and then the adult daughters shared their opinions as well. Talk
Right.
to me about how you managed your emotions during that time. I thought that you guys did a good job of that. It never got
Mhm.
nasty amongst y'all family, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And instead
Right.
of talking about the disagreement, talk to me about how you managed your emotions during that time to keep it at that temperature.
Got it. So, I mean, and I understood, like I said, I wasn't there to agree with anybody.
Right, right.
We can agree to disagree and move on about our business and see how we're still going to work through this.
For
You
sure.
don't have to try to have us agree with your mom, and I don't have to try to make you agree with my mom. You know,
Hmm.
it's fine. But my issue was, the raising the voice, the slamming on the tables, because some parts were edited, so you didn't
For
really see
sure.
some of it. But for us to say like, wait a minute, who you think you're talking to? Because we're sitting next to your mom, and we
Hmm.
have yet to disrespect her or raise our voice at her. We're letting her speak because this was a moment she was in and my mom was in. We
Hmm.
were born, but we were all children. And like I
Right.
said, if Keisha Nicole was 7 and I was 7, Monet was 4, 4. So
Yeah.
yeah, you were the youngest. I know she's like, oh, she was calling me a baby, a baby. You weren't necessarily a baby, but we were all children in the
Yeah.
situation. You were just the youngest. And I felt as if, she had the most to say. And I'm like, how you got the most to say? And you was the youngest. We at least kind of recall something, we
Yeah.
7. But let your mom talk. She was in this situation. Her and my mom, that's where, the disagreement is coming in. Keisha was basically mediating everything. So Jermisha and I, we were just listening, eating our
You are.
crawfish. Listening. But then when we felt as if, okay, Monet she taking it, the temperature going up. And we're all still trying to stay here. But, we kind of felt like she was escalating it a little by being a little disrespectful to my mom. And so that's when I felt like, hey, hey, I don't care what you're saying, but just watch your tone.
Yeah.
Because we're not handling your mom like that. And you were a child. So let's let the adults speak. We're all adults here now, but let the G1 speak because they were in that situation.
That's who it pertains to in that moment. And again, like I said, I want to be clear that this is a family situation about things that are very personal. So it's going to be easy for a lot of people to have passionate opinions about it. And I think y'all did a good job with that situation. And what I love most seeing was at the Lux launch that you guys had at the beautiful $4 million property, which I still want to know what's going on with that. But at that event, we saw you and Monet have a conversation where you kind of just cleared the air. You know what I mean? And I'm so glad we saw that. Talk to me about your decision to even have that conversation at the Lux launch, and have it on camera, because y'all could have got on the phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
What was your mindset with that approach to that conversation in that moment, Jaquita?
Well, so Monet was probably the only one I hadn't talked to in offline or off scene. I hadn't talked to her. I called and checked on everyone, or Nicole called us first, checking on us. We checked on Keisha. We checked on everyone in the situation, but I hadn't spoke to Monet because, I could tell she was a little heated. I was still a little heated. And I'm like,
give it time.
We'll eventually talk. We'll get to it. So then when I saw her there and I'm like, this is my cousin. I'm like, at the end of the day, she's going to always be my sister cousin. And we can agree to disagree. And that was the only point I wanted to make to her. Like, hey, you can go hard for your mom. I can go hard for my mom. We can agree to disagree. My only thing is, let's just be respectful about it. Yeah. And so that I just wanted her to see where I was coming from. Like, yeah, I did get heated in the moment because I felt as if you were, disrespecting my mom. And that's something that neither one of us are going to tolerate. I don't want you to disrespect mine. I'm not going to disrespect yours. Right. So let's just agree to disagree. If our views are different, that's fine. You ain't got to sway me. I ain't swaying you, you know? And so that's why I just felt the need. I'm like, hey, let me pull it to the side. This is my baby cousin. It's my, my sister. Yeah. And it's, we're family. So we're going to always get through it.
Well, we love to see that. And I thought it was a great example to set on TV for people to see, like, we ain't about to be beefed out. Come over here. Let's just talk this out and keep it. Even if we don't, let's just keep it. You know what I mean? Cool. And absolutely. I love seeing that on this show.
Yeah. Life too short to hold grudges.
And further to that idea, right? What do you think is necessary for there to be kind of like just peace amongst Lakeisha, your sister cousin Lakeisha, your Aunt Joy, and your Uncle Bubba? What do you think there needs to be just so that there can be the kickstart to some healing in that relationship? Just per your view as a cousin sister looking outside, from the outside looking in, well, really from the inside looking even further in. What do you think is necessary that can be the catalyst to just like moving toward that peace?
Now, I got to provide my little comic relief because we've been a little stuffy here.
Yeah,
but
that's cool. Come on. Yeah.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I think that they personally need to just go on Naked and Afraid and realize. Look, you need me. I need you. Let's figure this out. Like I said, I'm joking with it, but it needs to be something of that caliber or of that extreme to let them know, like, hey, I need you in my life. You need me in your life. Let's work this out.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, if counseling doesn't work, hey, maybe try the Naked and Afraid. I don't know. Something at this point, because I just want everybody to get along. Like I said,
hilarious.
life too short. Figure it out.
Well, we all want to see everybody get along, and we definitely want to
Absolutely.
see much more from the Braden clan on
Mhm.
Family Empire Houston. I wish you guys many more seasons of success.
Thank
And the viewers are very grateful that you all were so vulnerable and brave and even sharing these stories.
you.
We thank you for being funny on TV and letting us say, everybody say Braden every week. We love
Brayden,
you
I wish
guys.
he was here. He's probably getting off the school bus now.
Yeah. Well, that's what's up, Jaquita. What can we look forward to for next season? Because I know y'all are coming back.
Ooh,
So, what can we look forward to from your family from next season, Jaquita?
next season, hopefully Chris and I will be in our dream home.
Yes.
And
Speaking that
then
into existence.
we're
Yes.
speaking that into existence. Hopefully we have gotten somewhere with the land.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm praying we have gotten somewhere with the land. Um, and Jermisha and I, we have a project that we're working on as well. We're building multifamily homes on our lot, so we're
Wonderful.
working on that. Yes, and then we all have kind of like individual stuff going on. Like I'm working on a health product.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll have that drop soon. Got to get rid of this pajamic now. So I got some stuff in the works, and what else? Just showing more of us selling Houston.
We can't wait to see it, Jaquita. And we
Mhm.
wish you all the best, all
Thank
your endeavors,
you.
everything you guys got going on. And
Thank you
hey, I'm
so much,
ready for
Dustin.
season 2, 3,
I
4,
am
5,
too.
6, all of them. Okay. Bring them on. Thank you so much for kicking it with
Thank
us
you,
today, Jaquita.
Dustin. I
And
appreciate it. You were
we'll get
awesome.
together again next season too. Okay.
Got it. I look
Thank you
forward to
so
it.
much. All right, boo.
Take care.